Hello.
Mr. Burns!
Oh, no need for alarm. I just came to give you the orchids and fragrant bath oils I lavish upon all my employees.
Oh, aren't you nice? Gee, this makes me wonder why morale here is so low.
I am the angel of death. The time of purification is at hand.
Oh, who cares? Marge, what can we do?
Well, you could give them healthier snacks. Theme days.
You mean like Child Labor Day?
Actually, I was thinking of Funny Hat Day.
Hmm.
Ooh, and how about piping in some Tom Jones music? That always cheers me up.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's new, pussycat? Whoa, 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 whoa.
I wish I could hug myself, but that's weird.
All right, welcome to week 6 of The League Has Spoken. 6, 7, I don't know how many of these we've done, but it is the recap for the 4th episode of Survivor in our league so far. I'm joined by two new guests to the show, Emily E., who is literally just a girl who wants to have fun. Say hi, E.
Hi.
And we're joined by Victoria. New to
Otherwise
the-
known as V.
Otherwise, yeah, it's an alphabet only podcast. Let's get this out of the way up front. We're all wearing it's Fun Hat Day on the podcast. It's Silly Hat Day, which really is just a result of a mix-up. E texted me a couple days ago and was like, "What's the theme?" And I think you meant like, "What are we talking about?" But I thought you meant like, "Are we doing like a spirit day?" And I was like, "I don't know, fun hats." And then I was like, "You know what? We should do spirit days here." So this week is Fun Hat Day. Fun Hat Day on the show. Um, we should have just never addressed it at all,
No.
and let the audio only people have no idea. They wouldn't know any better what we're wearing. Anyway, let's before we get into the episode here, I want to ask you what your experience is with Survivor, because I don't think we've ever talked about this. I know V is brand new, right? And E has watched it before. I don't. Let's start with V. What are your thoughts as you've watched a couple of the episodes, right?
So I binge watched all 4 yesterday,
Oh, wow.
back to back to back.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
that was my first experience with Survivor, so love that for me.
Wow,
And
shot
then I
out of a
went to
cannon.
YouTube TV. YouTube TV has episodes 1, 2, and 3. Did they have 4? No.
Oh yeah, you sent me that.
Thank God you said Paramount Plus, because I would have just been clueless for today. But
Mm.
yeah, so my first experience was yesterday. But I watched them all back to back to back.
And what were
And
your thoughts? Do you feel like your brain's rotting now, having watched so much Survivor?
um,
Or is it like
what
a
is the
Stockholm
most
syndrome
political way
thing?
to answer that?
No,
Yeah, I felt the brain rot. I felt the
yeah,
brain rot.
I would expect that.
But I think it was a little less brain rot than other reality TV, so I'll give it that.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, E, you've been watching for a while?
Yeah, I guess I'd be an OG. I started watching the first ever episode with family friends and it became like a Survivor night for us until I was probably 18 and moved out of the house and then I couldn't do that anymore. So I've seen all the seasons, but I'm not like I can remember a couple people I really
Hmm.
like over the years, but I don't, I can't recall this episode on this thing on all the things, but
Well, you shouldn't be
but
able
I've
to,
seen them all.
because that would be
Yeah, that was
insane. That would be
that was
nuts.
yeah.
That would be
So yeah,
nuts.
this is my 49th season of Survivor.
Wow. Well, I guess yeah, Emily is really the resident expert then, because I have not. I started on 44 with Bree. I think I said it on last
Oh,
week's episode. She kind of suggested we watch it, and I was like, ah, come on. And then I got hooked afterwards, and so we've gone back and watched a couple of the old seasons, but there's obviously a lot that I missed. So I've seen 44 onward. We watched season 1. We watched season 7 because that's the one where Johnny Fairplay lies about his dead grandmother. And then we've watched a couple other seasons, kind of smattered throughout. Um, all right, so the other thing I want to address before we get into this episode here is some survivor drama online. I'm sure neither one of you knew about this because
Definitely
uh,
not.
no one's as chronically online as I am, I think, in this group. But during the preseason press for this season, they're all asked like what their survivor hot takes are. And usually it's dumb things that they share. They're like, we hate fire making or whatever. And it's things that a lot of people think. Um, but Jake's hot take was that the winner of so Rachel Lamont is the winner of season 47. Emily would know this, Victoria's not, so I'm kind of giving her a history lesson. She was an alternate for a previous season. They invited her back. She won the whole thing. She played what I think is the best game of Survivor I've seen. I haven't seen all the seasons, but she played an unbelievable game. She beat a guy called Sam who played pretty well, but Rachel played the best game ever. And so Jake's hot take was that Sam should have won and Rachel should have lost. And so it got posted online, and Rachel responded with her hot take in the comments, and it just said the snake should have bit harder.
Ooh. Should have released
She
that
was like,
memo.
basically, she was like, my hot take is that Jake should be dead. Um, and then the reason I wanted to share this is because
Why?
someone did the funniest possible thing, which was create a Twitter account for the snake and jumped in and was like, "I'm so sorry, Rachel. I didn't mean to leave you, let you down. Next time I'll do better." It was great.
Oh my
I
God.
wanted to address that. It was just a fun thing that I saw this week. It has nothing to do with anything important, but
Well, and this is why Rachel won, because that was her comeback.
yeah, that was incredible. All right, so should we do it? Should we get into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
I
this
don't know what I'm getting into, but let's do it.
let's throw up the spoiler warning. Which by the way, last week, so we have a spoiler. If you haven't watched this, which most people haven't, that's fine. I put a spoiler tag in like the beginning of the episode, and I did it last week, just like every other week. And Christina and Kyla kept saying spoilers every time they said something. And I was like, you don't have to keep doing that. I don't think they realized they did it. But so that's already in there. Let's talk. So we start this episode with a recap. And the recap immediately edits in some dialogue that they did not include in the previous week. I don't know if V would have caught this. Your brain probably was like on half power at this point because this is like deep into your just like out of a cannon binging them. But in last week's episode, Rizzo and MC found those beware advantages, but the trick was that they would only get the next clue if they lost. But this week we're getting a tribe swap, and so all of us were like, what happens if they have to go to a different beach? Like, does the thing travel with them? Like, what's the deal? And so they edited it in some dialogue to the recap when they're like reading the instructions, and it's like, if you go to a new beach, it will follow you. And I was like, they definitely had to throw that in after the fact. Um, and the recap, there's not much else that happens, but they kind of tee up that it's going to be the red tribe versus the yellow tribe, um, which I think we all knew. And then we get some actual new footage. So we go to the beach with Alex and Sophia B after Sophie B for Greg after they vote out Jeremiah. So now they're a tribe of two. Um, and I started thinking about this. This is pretty brutal. They went from 6 people to 2 people in less than a week. That's I don't want to say it's a survivor record because I didn't research this at all, but that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, there
Didn't
was a
even,
season. Let me
I
see.
think even Jeff said that this is like highly unusual.
Yeah, they normally don't really get down to two. In the old days, they had tribes of like 8 to 10. They do like two tribes. And one time there was a woman who ended up on a tribe of one. I have not seen that season. I know she's coming back for season 50, so I should know her name off the top of my head, but I don't. But that's about the only time I know of. Like two is a low number to get to.
Wait, how do you even get to one? Because then you would just vote the other person off if you're a tribe of
I
two.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to vote for yourself. Again, I haven't seen that season, but I think it came down to like she
I
must have
think
had an idol or something. And
Okay.
so by default, she was like, well, obviously I'm gonna play it, and then whoever went home. But
Stephanie LaGrossa was the
thank you,
vote for it.
Stephanie. Yes. Yeah, she's the only person ever to be on a tribe of one. We got pretty close though. And then Alex and Sophia B are just sleeping on the beach. They're just like they've been spit out by the ocean. They just decide to sleep on the beach and but there's a tide coming in. And it's like 'cause we talked a lot last week about this curse of the Blue Tribe and how God doesn't want them to live, basically. And it's still hitting them. The boat gets washed away. Sophie B's shoe gets washed away. Um, and I was like, oh man, they probably just we don't need to do a tribe swap. Probably just eliminate them. I think by default.
I thought the shoe was funny because Jake was the snatcher.
Yes. Yeah.
Karma.
I heard online someone was like, did he die and now his spirit is haunting the beach,
Yeah.
taking people's shoes? I did get some insight into this when I listened to Jeff's podcast this week, and the player he was talking with, Jeremy Collins, shout out Jeremy. He said that if you sleep in the woods in your shelter, there's more bugs and rats and stuff. And if you sleep on the beach, sometimes, like if the bugs are bad, the winds and the coolness will keep them away from you. So I get why they slept there because there was a whole thing in our house. Bree and I were both like, "What are you doing? Like, you built a shelter, just go in there." But I guess I'll give them that. That's I assume that's what they were trying to do, but it did not work out for them.
But like you also slept on the beach where there Jake got bit by a snake. Like I don't
True.
Mhm.
I,
True. By a snake that lives in the water, like the
yeah.
shallow water.
Yeah.
True. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. Um, that's pretty much all that happens before we get the episode, like the theme song. And I feel like at this theme song, you can give me your opinions on this, but I feel like every time someone from the Blue Tribe shows up, it should be black and white, like an in memoriam.
Yeah. That's great.
So we go to back to the beach after the title. And it looks like there's going to be a challenge where they're split into pairs, and that's where everyone gets their first reveal of the blue tribes who got voted out, and they all act surprised, like it's the craziest thing that one of them's gone. Every week they're like, "Oh my God!" It's like you guys know they went to tribal. You expected them to come back with all their people. Like I don't know why you're so surprised. Um, and Jeff's like, "Man, aren't challenges so hard when you have two people?" Anyway, drop your buffs. It's time for a tribe swap. Um, which we saw coming in the preview, but I feel like in the new era, the last few seasons, they always do a tribe swap. When it's like when one tribe gets down to three, I feel like that's just kind of in the cards.
Oh, absolutely. At that point, it's just not fair anymore.
Yeah, it's not fair. I mean, how would you even do with the sit outs? Like you have a tribe of six and four of you can't do it. Like that's too much to keep track of. Um, So they swap, and we get two new tribes. Oh, sorry. Before that, Sophie B celebrates. She's kind of the main character this episode. Sophie B celebrates a whole ton, and then they zoom in on her feet because we know that she lost a shoe, and she is like wearing someone else's shoes that got voted out, which begs the question: did someone leave without their shoes?
Yeah, I mean, I always wonder like how many do people bring multiple pairs because God forbid what happens if there's like a hole, say you lose one to the ocean, what do you do?
Yeah, I think they do bring more than one pair, but still, like they bring their bags to tribal. I would think that they leave with all their stuff.
What
Right.
do they get to bring? Like, are there restrictions?
Um, so they send in like two or three outfits of whatever color they're told, or if you're Jason, you have to send in a couple outfits of every color because you don't know if you're going to be on any of the tribes. Um, and production will be like, you can wear this, you can wear this, and they'll like send them back and be like, this is what you're wearing. And they usually that's also I used to make fun of them for like what they showed up to the game in, but I think production puts them in kind of their first outfit, and then you'll see a lot of them change when they get to the beach to something that's less ridiculous. That's why people show up in like jeans and a blazer and whatever. And you're like, what are you doing? Um, so sort of yes, sort of no. Um, but they all bring their bags to tribal. I found it weird that someone wasn't like, well, let me bring my belong all my belongings with me.
Yeah, so it's
Anyway,
like just clothes. Like they can't bring supplies or anything.
no, you used to be able to bring supplies. You get like one personal item. In season one, someone brings a Bible, and that's why they get voted out because they can't stop preaching Bible verses to everyone, and they're all like that's good for you, but please stop. This is like I can't do this 24
Well,
hours a day.
what about meds? I always thought about that.
You
Are med
get production has like whatever meds you would normally need within reason. I think so. If you had, I can't think of an example of one. Like I want to say if you had like
what about birth control?
you would get birth control, I think. You would be allowed to have that. They have like obviously like sanitary products and stuff. They have I think they gave them bug spray and I think they gave them suntan lotion, which they haven't always because there's a couple seasons where some people show up to the second day and they're like as red as this cowboy hat, which I guess is pink. But um so they give them stuff like that, but they don't get toothpaste or toothbrushes. They don't get like I don't think you get an allergy pill, but you get some stuff. But I think production controls that. They like have it in a separate location and someone will like bring it to them, I think, if they need it. Um,
Interesting.
I think. I don't know. I that's don't fully quote me on that. But so we keep going and so we get these two we're getting two tribes now. We're going from three to two, and usually the last few seasons they've done a tribe swap. It's still three tribes, so I thought they were gonna go five, five, and four. But we get two tribes, and they're fairly even, I would say, in terms of ability level. But they're fairly imbalanced in terms of the majority of like a former tribe. So we get the new yellow tribe, not to be confused with the old yellow tribe. The new yellow tribe is Savannah, Rizzo, Jawan, Nate, all from Uli, Matt and Jason, who were already on the yellow tribe. I wrote Matt twice. I don't know why I did that. Am I missing someone? And Sophie B. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, I just wrote Matt twice for some reason. And then the new blue tribe, which I thought it was odd they chose to keep the blue tribe, the tribe that had been cursed, and the beach that has absolutely nothing. You have Christina, MC, Steven, and Sophie S, formerly of the Yellow Tribe, and you have uh Alex, Shannon, and Sage.
I felt so bad Alex got stuck with the blue tribe again.
I know.
Poor
Yes.
guy.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Can't catch
Uh,
a break.
Now, I will say this, in terms of their position in the game, I feel like Sophie B and Alex, since they've survived the beginning, they're probably pretty good because now that there's this whole like red versus yellow thing, they get to kind of be the swing vote as long as they navigate that correctly because no one's going to be like, Alex has the numbers because Alex is alone. But you're right, to be back on that beach is brutal. At least Sophie B, they end up losing later in the episode, but at least they have hammocks and stuff like that. Um, All right, so let's check my notes. They go to leave the beach and Rizzo grabs the wrong flag, which is just classic Rizzo. I feel
Unreal.
he's talking to himself. He can't even cheat correctly in the puzzles, and he's like Rizzo is like a Muppet. I feel like. Do you guys get that sense?
Yeah.
I
The
thought I would hate
first
him. I love him, but he's an odd duck.
Yeah. I don't know about him. The flag thing was annoying. It was like really that's not a great start to your new tribe.
Hmm.
I'd
I
be mad if I was on this tribe. That's for sure.
Now he is on the tribe that's loaded with former red people. So if you were gonna do that, I guess that's the tribe to do it. But yeah, I thought that was funny. Um, and then I'm gonna try. I don't want to cruise through this because there's a lot of interesting talking points. But most of the rest of this episode, until we get to the challenge, was just drama on the beach. That was not really drama, but was sort of interesting. So Sage starts being herself. Um, Actually, now is probably a good point to edit in. So I wanted to do a new segment in here that was just what do all the moms in the league think? Um, but two of the three declined. Um,
um,
and well, to be fair, so Anne is two episodes behind, which is a good reason to not do a little video. That's fine. Um, Sharon was too nervous and didn't want to be on camera, which is fair. This is a dumb thing to do. And then my mom agreed, but so I asked her to film a video, and she was like, "I'll do it later. I'm out working in the yard." I was like, "Great, no rush. This happened yesterday." And then she sent me an audio file, which is not what I asked for. But her thoughts are on Sage, so I will clip it in now. We're going to live yesterday in the field is our senior Sage correspondent, Heidi.
Couple of my thoughts on the season so far. I really wished they would stop interviewing Sage because it's going to take a while for me to forget that she loves blackheads, which is fine, but do we need to know that she saves them in a jar? And the other thing I've been thinking about is Sophie must be coming close to a record for the number of tribal councils that she has survived without her name ever coming up.
All right. So my mom brings up a good point is that Sage shouldn't be allowed to speak anymore, I think.
She keeps blackheads in a jar.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's not the weirdest thing. I feel like the whole poop thing was weirder.
What's
Unless you're telling me it's a lateral move between collecting pimples and like asking people about their poop.
And then all the peeing too. Can we add that to the trifecta?
That doesn't even faze me anymore.
I
It's
just
weird.
what does she do for a living? I forget.
That's a good question. She wanted to be a minor league baseball mascot, remember? But
Oh my
then
God. Yep.
but then was given the Easter Bunny instead, which feels like it fits her personality. And
I'm
I don't
upset about
know.
that because I used to be used to
She
bunny.
used to be or is in the National Guard. I know that because I almost picked her early in the season when I was looking through bios. I was like, okay, she's gonna be like a pretty strong. I mean, she's not bad in the challenges, but she really has underwhelmed me. Um,
She's a she's a clinical social worker.
Yeah,
oh yeah, that's still you.
that's concerning.
Yeah,
Why is a social worker obsessed with excretions?
that's the most diplomatic way I think you could have put that.
I wouldn't trust her if she was my social worker.
No.
No.
Um, oh, new hat change.
Yep, it was hat change.
Yeah, we've gone from witch to Paddington Bear.
We're getting into like the actual beach event, so I'm changing my.
Fair. Yes, that's it. That's a good thought. So Sage immediately weirds out her tribe. She's like, I might as well get ahead of this because you guys are going to be able to figure it out pretty quickly just by interacting with me. I collect blackheads in a jar, and they handle it pretty well. I guess on day 7, you're like, really nothing can faze me anymore. I haven't eaten in X amount of days. Um, and Shannon takes her other approach. I complimented Shannon a lot last week. I'd like to retract those statements. Um, because Shannon starts going real hard on the Jesus thing, which is fine. I don't have a problem if you're down with Jesus, but I thought it was a funny sequence because she's leading them through the prayer to the ocean or whatever that she made the Red Tribe go through, and there's like a cut to 2 or 3 different people. I think it's you can see on MC's face she's not about it. Steven's not even closing his eyes, and Steven's like, I got her pegged right away. This is ridiculous. And then it cuts to Christina, and Christina is all about it. She's like 100%. She's like clutching her cross again, totally fine. But she's like, Steven has moved so far away from wanting to work with Shannon, and Christina has like made a beeline towards her. And I just thought it was a funny like edit to be like, she sucks. I love her. Um, Christina and Shannon hang out a lot on the beach in this episode, in fact. And Sage also clocks it. Sage is like, listen, she was kind of like this before, but I feel like she's really hamming it up over on this tribe. So we'll have to see if people think that she's a little two-faced. If, uh, just to put you two in a precarious position, to try and dance around this, if someone came up to you in this scenario, it's day 7, you have a new tribe, you're in the majority alliance. you're thinking about getting a swing vote, and your two options are someone who loves poop and someone who won't stop talking about the life force of waves and Jesus, who are you leaning towards?
I don't know. The poop thing gives me serial killer vibes. Like like Dexter. Do you have a room where you're cutting people up?
Hmm. So you're going with Jesus.
I'm going
V?
the way.
I think I'm going with Jesus too. At least she's like putting herself out there and trying to play strategically, even though it's obvious. But
Hmm.
okay, she's gonna do what she has to do, at least for the tribe at this point, and then as it gets further in the season, then she's a concern.
Yeah, I agree. If anything, it'll be interesting to see because Christina's kind of in her pocket now. If they want to target Shannon, what pull Christina has with the rest of that alliance, because I think Christina will want to save her,
Yeah.
save Shannon. So it'll be interesting to see if they listen to her at all or not. Because I feel like I would put Christina on the bottom of that alliance, but they all seem to like her, even though she can't contribute at all. So I don't know.
Well,
Um,
she was like an easy out at after, later in the game.
yes,
She's
for
not
sure.
going to win any immunity idols
Yeah.
or anything.
I think if she makes it far enough, she could go to the end just as someone that gets dragged because they're not a threat. All right, so we go back over to the new yellow tribe. I keep wanting to call them the red tribe because it's basically who's left. And we get this really nice moment with Nate where he's really missing his family, but he is still able to keep it together. Unlike sometimes people like miss their family and they just have a complete breakdown, he like this is an odd statement. He like did it the right way where it was like you could empathize with him, but no one was looking at him like, "Oh, we got to cut him because he's losing it," which is a fine line to dance on. And I just wrote down. I think Emily will thoroughly disagree with me. I People are really hot or cold on this, but I love Savannah. I think she's so great. I'm not saying I would trust her, like if I were out there. I think I'd be scared of her. But as someone watching the show, and I'm also biased because she's on my team, but like, what a great character. She's cutthroat, but not psycho. Like, she's not gonna come out and be like, look you in the eye and be like a Russell Hantz and be like, I'm gonna destroy you and your family. She'll like be cordial about it, but she's the only one clocking all this weird stuff that's happening. They have that conversation with Matt where also she gets him to fold so quickly. He was like, I'm not going to tell people at all that I was in finance. They asked him what he did before he worked at the airport, and he could have just said, that's always what I've done, and you would believe him because of the dreads and everything. But she just like presses a little bit more, and he's like, "Ah, you got me. I worked in finance, and I wasn't just like there. I was high up in finance." She gets him to fold so quickly. I feel like the only one in that tribe or in the game kind of clocking and accurately reading everyone. I feel like she, at least so far, she's the one that's running this. She's so great to watch.
Well, I mean, I agree with you shockingly. I do not like her in the slightest, but she is a fantastic player. Like completely fantastic, doing a superb job reading the room and because there's a lot of people who can't read the room there, so she's doing
Hmm.
it well. Um, but I do not like her in the slightest, so you're right. I do disagree with you there.
Yeah, I feel like she's either gonna
She
make
is
it.
on my team. I picked her up last after Nicole.
Oh yeah, that's true. Um,
I like her
V, what,
because she's on my team.
V, what are your thoughts on Savannah?
She's definitely a front runner. Yeah, she's doing a great job. I also feel like she gets like a ton of screen time, whereas other
Hmm,
players, I feel like I haven't seen their thoughts as much. So
that's
I'm like,
fair.
maybe someone else is an underdog.
Yeah, I feel like she's either gonna make it far because she's the only one paying attention right now, or she's gonna like get wrapped up a little too much in her own web and flame out like 2 episodes after the merge, right after it's too late for me to replace her. Um, because
Oh, is
she's
that
just
how it
like
works?
after the merge, we no longer let people like replace people on your tribe because at that point it feels like you have too much info, and then it becomes like everyone picks the same person, and um, that's what we decided last year because last year we didn't have the rule about like how many times a player could be picked. Um, but also just like the pool of selection keeps narrowing down. So
Yeah.
um, it worked out last year. With that rule, everyone had someone in the final episode to root for still. No one like was out. But we didn't want people who were like paying attention because there are some people that are like a couple weeks behind. We didn't want them to have an unfair advantage. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's how it works. So I feel like Savannah could get wrapped up a little bit and maybe like backstab the wrong person. She has that alliance going with Sophie, and I wrote that like they're either gonna be a powerhouse, or I think more likely Savannah's gonna use Sophie until the merge and then cut her like it's breathing.
I feel like Sophie might be the one to cut her. I feel like Sophie's really strategic.
I do not like Sophie at all.
No.
So many problems with Sophie.
I I agree with Emily. I don't love Sophie B. But I don't think she has the numbers to pull something off like that yet, unless she finds an advantage.
She's also just so whiny. I can't stand her in the slightest, which is if I were Savannah, I'd drag her along just because she's so freaking annoying and then I'd cut her.
Mm.
But you'd have to do it before, I think right before the merge, because the second Sophie gets her claws on other people to like have her sob story, she's
Yeah,
a little I think V's right. She could be a little strategic and manipulative in that world.
yeah, they can't let her stay too long. Um, all right, well, you know what time it is. It is time for the immunity challenge. So this was one of the more interesting ones I've seen in a while, despite being pretty straightforward. It's going to be a relay race that starts in the water where most people are pulling the boat. It's kind of shallow water, so they're not swimming, and the people in the boat have to like collect a series of blocks. I thought they were puzzle pieces, which is why at first I was like, "Oh, yellow's gonna clean this up because they have Jason." But they're just that's all they are is blocks. They do have to crisscross, which led is going to lead to our first challenge gif of the week is when they had to crisscross and Christina starts like she trips and she starts to get dragged by her team, and then Alex gets run over by the other boat, which will be playing on screen now. I was like, any crisscrossing like this, they've done this before in some older seasons when they're in like big canoes and they have to crisscross, and it's always chaos. It never goes smoothly. Um, so once they get back to the beach, they got to get the blocks, and they have this like balance beam that's like multiple levels, and one person has to carry, I guess there's 10 small blocks, small like this big, and 10 big blocks, which are much bigger. One person has to carry the 10 small blocks over the balance beam, and then the remaining tribe members will have to carry the other big blocks on this like weird harness thing. It's like a board with the rope, and so there's like it's a two. I'm not going to be able to describe it well. Who cares? And once they all get over, then they just have to build a tower. It's as straightforward as that. Um, and I was like, tower, who cares? But when we get there, actually, let's just oh, and sorry, I always skip over this because it's buried in my notes. I need to bold this next time. Um, there's a reward, and the reward is fruit, and
Oh,
everyone besides one person is super pumped about it. And I
so
and I agree with her scientifically. What you want at that point is you need protein and you need carbs to fuel you. Fruit is a great mental relief and it'll give you some energy, but that's not scientifically energy that's going to like stay with you for a long time. But how she goes about it, telling people, I the whole time Bree was laughing at me because she doesn't have Sophie S. I have Sophie S. And I was really pumped about that pickup. And then she opened her mouth and I was just like, fuck, 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 fuck. Like they have to win this challenge because if they don't win, everyone's gonna be like, well, the girl who just brought the vibe down, she's out. Um, I was real worried about that. She really did not make any friends in the other tribe. The other tribe was like, we'll take her fruit. There's no problem with that.
yeah.
So where were we? So they we talked about the reward and how Sophie S made me poop my pants a little bit to Sage's delight. Okay, so we're doing the challenge now, and I already mentioned this, but they start pulling the boats, and Christina starts to get dragged, and Alex gets actually run over by the other boat, which I thought was hilarious. But otherwise, they're pretty evenly matched. They get to the beach, um, and they start to do the balance beam. And there's two things I want to talk about here. Well, really, from here on out, this becomes MC's challenge. MC, I don't have her on my team, but I have two people that are on her new tribe. And MC, I feel like single-handedly wins the blue tribe this reward, making her the most valuable player on my team because I benefited so much from her taking this over. I think we've all been waiting for it to happen because we know she's like kind of a beast.
She's good.
But she was kind of overshadowed by Jake and then all the dead weight on the other blue tribe. But she flies with this balance beam like it's nothing. And the other thing I want to talk about is Matt. I just wrote down, you'd think for someone that handles bags at the airport, he'd have a better grip on this part of the challenge. I mean, I guess to be at the airport, he's not like on a balance beam or anything, but like that's a lot of things to keep track of in your mind. You got to be strong and hold them. You got to have like good footwork and look out for where all the machines are, I assume. And I thought he would do better. My guy Matt slips 3 times before he even gets across once.
Each slip was like comical too. Like he's like running off the edge of it's crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't even like he was like, oh no, and I fell. He's just like, the wind blew, and he's like, oh, better go back to the beginning. To the point where we're getting some sassy Jeff lately. I've been clipping him into episodes. He was not afraid to rank in the blue tribe, even though they're having a hard time. What is his quote here? I'll play it.
Who's going?
Matt, you're up. Go
Who's the individual?
Matt, you're up.
Matt, go. If you're waiting on a printed invitation, it's not coming.
His quote is, Matt, you're waiting on a printed invitation. You're not going to find it. Why don't you get involved here? Incredible.
So good.
He used to be rude like that. He got into remember, he would probably maybe remember this. He got into a fight with Colby that one season where he like they used to be when they would have rewards, he would like offer a little piece of whatever it is to everyone to try so they could like taste and remember what they're playing for. So if it was like you get like a beer and cheeseburgers or whatever, like everyone would get a sip of beer. Or like one time they had chocolate, so everyone got a piece of chocolate, and it got to Colby and he was like, don't want it. And Jeff was like, you don't want he's like, nope, let's get to it. I'm ready to play. And they got into this very heated exchange. He's like, I got it, brother. We'll go when I say we're going. Like,
handed you the plate and you were like, I don't want this.
I'm not annoyed with you. I'm ready to get to the challenge.
Free offer of chocolate. I'm just curious.
Let's go.
I got the message, brother. We'll go when I'm ready.
Power trip.
yeah, it was he's coming back for 50, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, he hasn't been this sassy since then. So I loved it. I was sure at that point he was probably going home, which we'll get to. Um, but you like 3 slips in a row is embarrassing. So Blue gets the lead thanks to MC and Matt indirectly. And this is where I realized how hard this challenge is. I've never seen something like this ever. Again, haven't watched all the seasons, but usually it's a puzzle, or I've seen them do like an archway a couple times, which is really difficult to build. I think there's one in this like little theme song I put together where they're all building specific blocks. Or maybe it's in the Disaster Tribe Alert. I can't remember where I clipped it in. But I haven't seen them build. This tower's like 15 feet tall.
I honestly prefer when they end like this versus a puzzle.
Oh, yeah, it was super interesting. I'm definitely one of those like armchair quarterbacks where in the challenges I'm like, I could have done that. I could have done that. I could have done that. The puzzles I'm like, I think I could have figured it out, but who knows? Being that tired. They started doing this and I straight up was like, I couldn't do this. I couldn't do it.
Yep, sending the shortest people up.
Yeah, I thought
And
the other
also-
tribe would do better with Nate, who's like 6'7". But
Yeah.
the tower's Rizzo's on his shoulders and he's like dying. He's like, hand him the fucking block. Like, I can't keep doing this. And he's still not tall enough.
This also frustrated me too because I was like, why can't you just build?
I know
Oh,
she
she's
froze.
frozen.
She froze.
I'm gonna guess. We're gonna keep this part in the recording, which is probably gonna log out, get back in. I'm gonna make a guess right now that she meant to say build like a human pyramid.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I did cheerleading way back in the day. All I could think about was why aren't they getting some structures in place with Nate? Like put Nate at the top of that for
Yeah.
sure.
He's not. I don't look at Nate and go, he's probably the base of the pyramid. If you were to build, let's do this while we wait for V, and then if she's not back, we'll keep going. It, oh, she got out. She's probably coming back in. If you were to build a human pyramid
With that tribe.
we'll do the yellow tribe first. So again, the yellow tribe is Savannah, Rizzo, Jawan, Nate, Matt, Sophie B, Jason.
Yes.
That's 7 people, so that's probably a 3 level, and maybe someone climbs up. Right?
Yep.
3 would be 6 people. So of those 7, pick 6 people. Who's in the bottom? Probably
Rizzo.
Matt,
Rizzo, Matt.
Jawan.
Yeah.
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 I guess I wouldn't have said Rizzo, but I guess looking at who's left, it's like, what do you do? Then you
Right.
probably go, who's in the middle?
Savannah. I think she,
Savannah. Savannah,
yeah.
Jason?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd put Sophie B up there, and then maybe Nate is the top and he's standing.
I think he has to be in order to reach the top
He's
of
pretty
that.
small, so I wouldn't have a problem with like skinny. He's not
Yeah.
gonna crush Savannah. All right, so blue tribe.
Now, would you make a pyramid or I would do like the cheerleading thing where you like lift the person? I think that gives you more height than a pyramid.
Yeah, but do you trust the yellow tribe to coordinate that? I
No.
think the yellow tribe's best bet is pyramid and Nate stands on top.
Yeah.
So you think, I mean, blue obviously wins, so they probably should just do what they did.
Yeah.
Which leads to our second most important challenge gift of the week, which is MC once again taking over and standing on top of everyone like a boss and topping off that tower. Incredible.
Yeah.
That was wild. I walked in, I stopped at my parents on Thursday. I think I borrowed their carpet cleaner. Bree's away this week. That's why she's not here. And so I did all the cleaning and stuff. And I walk in and my mom's watching the episode, and that's the moment she's watching. And she's like, she doesn't even say hi. I like walk in, the dogs are going crazy, and my mom's just like half standing in her chair, like, yeah, yeah, I have her. She's on my team. It was a great moment. V's back.
I'm on
Yay.
my phone now. I don't know what happened,
That's
but
fine. We'll make it work. What were you gonna say? You felt like they should have built, or you felt like you got cut off.
they should have stacked like a stack of 4 or something blocks or whatever they had left to get to the top. And then they just move that stack on top. I was like, people, get your shit together.
That's not what we took guesses on what we thought you were gonna say.
I can't wait to watch this back.
We're not even
No.
gonna tell you. We're gonna have to make you watch it. All right, so that was the challenge. I thought the tower was crazy. This was one of my favorite challenges, I think, because of the tower. It was close to the end. It was really tense. That's all I have to say about that. Any last thoughts on the challenge before we go to the scramble on the beach?
I just think it was incredible that MC like first just started on the ground standing with someone on her shoulders and then proceeded to just like stand on top of someone to then go like she was involved in every single aspect and like never once got tired. And if I were anyone there, I'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be terrified of her for immunity challenges moving forward. Like merge, watch out.
Yeah, she like single-handedly carried her team. She was on my radar now.
Yeah.
Yeah, solidified that for sure.
It took a beast like MC to break the curse of the blue tribe, because now they get their flint back. It's the first time they've had fire in like a week. And the yellow tribe is going to tribal. So at this point, we never saw the blue tribe again. I don't know if you realize this. After we get back to the beaches, we only saw this new yellow tribe, which is basically the old red tribe. And once again, Savannah proves that she's the only one with a head on her shoulders because everyone's like, "What do we do now?" And they all kind of look at Sophie B, and she was kind of like, "Fucking figure it out." I'm not like I've gone to every single tribal so far. My mom made me look this up actually, um, and I didn't spend that much time proofreading it. Hold on, I gotta pull up the text. But she was like, "Is this a record for like, or what is the record for the number of times that someone's gone to tribal?" Um, and so it depends. So if you're talking about ever, because people have played multiple seasons, Parvati, not including Australian Survivor, which he just played and won, by the way, has played 4 seasons of US Survivor, so she's gone to 36 tribal councils. But that's across multiple seasons. So if you look at one single season, which is also tricky because sometimes they do final two, sometimes they've done final three, sometimes they play with more than 18 people. Like next season is a record high of 24 people that are going to play in Survivor 50. So it's not super fair. So there's a record of 16 tribals in a single season, which is held by everyone that was in the final three of Survivor Samoa, which is season 19. Russell Hantz, Natalie White, and Mick Trimming. Now, I think that season must have had like 20 people in it because it's the only way you could have that many. And Michelle Fitzgerald in season 40 that also had 20 people. Um, for only one person ever, I don't know where the note is. Maybe I didn't save it. I forget her name. I should have it, but I don't. One person ever has gone to every single tribal council that
Really?
season. And
Oh,
she ended up winning. So you would think that I would know her name. I don't. I don't remember it. I didn't write it down for whatever reason. But she only went to 15. So again, different amounts of people in the final, different amounts of people in the game. She doesn't have the record for the most, but she is the only one to go to everything. So far, I'm not saying Sophie is going to make it to the end per se, but so far, Sophie is on track um, for that. I'll also say this, my mom pointed this out, and I know that I don't love Sophie B, and Emily really doesn't love Sophie B. She's never had her name written down. So it will be
that is.
interesting to see how many tribal councils she has to survive before she gets her name written down. Not for nothing. But anyway, so Savannah's the only one with a head on her shoulders because they're all kind of looking at Sophie B. And Savannah, meanwhile, is like, let's go get this idol. What are we doing? We're in charge. We don't really need to talk to the old Yellow Tribe members. Let's just go get it. Rizzo doesn't even remember he has the Beware advantage at first. Savannah's already halfway done with it. Um, she and Jawan go dig up the thing. And I thought Rizzo's thing was so much easier than the one that Alex had to do with the chain.
Hmm.
His is just here's a map, go into the water. It's sort of hidden behind a rock. That's it. Doesn't have to carry anything. He doesn't like it. I was really bummed out by that, but so he gets the idol, which he would have gotten, but Savannah really pushes that forward. Um, Matt realizes he and Jason are on the bottom, and so he and Jason take opposite approaches. Jason's like, I'm just gonna play my shot in the dark, which is a horrible choice. Um, because everyone's like, well, why would you do that? Now we don't trust you. Um, V, do you know what that is?
I had to look it up,
Okay.
but you have 1 in 6 shot at
Yeah.
not getting out,
Yeah.
and then
Sorry, go ahead.
you can't vote.
Yeah, you give up your vote, and you only get one a season.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like you always have that option. So oftentimes people will play it if they're like in this kind of a scenario. They're like, I know I'm going home without a doubt. I don't have an idol. I don't have any other choice. I might as well try this because I'm going home anyway. But oftentimes like it freaks people out because every now and then it works. It rarely works, but every now and then it does. So people kind of get nervous because then obviously that person's immune. Anyway, that's Jason's strategy, which sends off a lot of red flags, particularly for Savannah. And Matt's strategy, he has an all-time quote. He says, if you can make vodka out of a potato, I'm gonna make something out of this. And he's like, I'm going to try and take a big swing at Nate, who appears to be running this tribe, which is not correct either. So double bad choice on that one. And he pulls in Jawan, and to Jawan's credit, because I was like lukewarm on Jawan, um, he's got little shark teeth. He acted really well because I was like, oh, Jawan's into this. I was like, I think this is going to happen. And because it would be a good play for Jawan. He's clearly in the bottom of that red group. I don't see
Do you think he
Sage.
thinks that? I don't think he thinks that.
No, I don't think he thinks
I
that.
don't think he
I think
thought
if he was more aware, he would realize
that.
that. I would like to think this is one of those armchair quarterback things. I would like to think if I was there, I would be able to see that about myself. I'd like to say I would see all the time Savannah and Rizzo are spending together. That's quite a duo, even though Rizzo is a Muppet, but somehow together they like combine into really Savannah's just better than him. Um, Everyone likes Nate.
Hmm.
Shannon and Sage are on another planet right now, so they're gone. I don't think they're both coming back. I I think Sage was always likely to flip to the other group here, and Shannon isn't really talking to Jawan, even when they were on the same beach. I would like to think I would know that this isn't a bad idea for me.
Yeah.
That being said, he faked me out. He comes to the camera, he's like, he's gone. He rats out Matt. Are you
There's
giving us high
spiders
fives?
everywhere. Oh, there's spiders everywhere.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Emily's playing Survivor for real during this filming. Um,
I've killed like 4.
wow. Are you good?
Yeah.
So he wants to blindside Nate. It's not going to go well. And this is when I realized I was like, this is going to get messy. There's a shot in the dark in play. People are trying to backstab each other. Uh, there's an idol out now, which is probably not going to be played because why would it need to be? Um, Everyone's getting real angry and spiteful. And I thought that we were going to get the episode title in here. And last week, Kyla, Christina, Bree, and I all took bets on who was going to say it. I said that Juwan was going to say it, and he was so close. When he was doing that thing where he was like, I don't trust Matt whatsoever, I thought he was going to tell Matt to go kick rocks. He doesn't. Christina said Rizzo, who was also kind of describing their power lines. He almost said it, but didn't. Um, Sophia B, Kyla said Sophia B would say it. She was on the island. She wasn't really close to saying it. Um, but Bree said Nate, and I was like, that's not really a Nate thing to do. But Nate finds out that Matt wants to target him, and he gets angry, and he ultimately delivers the episode title, "Go Kick Rocks, Bro," um, and it's on. And at this point, it now feels like an old school Survivor episode. Everyone's spiteful. It's messy. People are making good decisions that are interesting. People are making bad decisions that are interesting to watch how bad they are. And we go to tribal. So, before we get to the Methodist tribal, I do want to bring up, did you guys catch Juwan walking into tribal?
Yes. The
He's,
shock in his face.
he's like losing his fucking mind. He's like, "Oh my God, we're in a ship." And oh, it was awesome. He's bewildered. He's so
Like he's
hyped
at,
up.
yeah, it's like he's at Disney World.
Yeah. And I get it because there's a giant ship there. It's pretty cool. I don't know that I would be losing it like that, but it is how I feel inside. It's like he's never been outside before.
Right. But on top of like you're entering tribal, like I think that's the last thing on my mind is, oh, there's a ship here. Like, I could be voted out of this game tonight.
Yeah, I
So
guess that speaks to how
there's
safe he felt.
zero self-awareness. I think that this whole season of Survivor is like there is no one who is self-aware except for Savannah.
Yeah,
Everyone else, like that is literally no one else has any awareness. Sage
I
talks
yeah.
anything she wants. Rizzo forgets the flag.
Shannon's talking about the crab's life force, and people are losing clothing items to the ocean.
There's a snake that bites somebody. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
So, yeah, Juwan's an Electric Factory. I don't know that he's a good Survivor player, but I'll tell you this: he is fun to listen to because he's always hyped up like a little child, and he makes it always much more fun, even when he's completely misreading a scenario. I like watching him. I don't know that I love him as a player, but I like watching him.
yeah,
Um, I also wrote I can't tell if the ship is big or small. Because you walk in and it's like it's looming over the jungle, but then you're in tribal and it's like the whole thing's in the frame. I don't know if there's a second ship they've built, but it really messed with my head. I just wanted to say that. I couldn't tell if it was a big ship or a small ship. It was like an optical illusion. Um, this is the first tribal I think that's interesting to watch this season. All the other ones were just like, all right, we know who's going home, get to it, vote.
yeah.
No one's angry. No one's says anything they shouldn't. We get that here. Um, You can tell that Sophie B's been there before because she is just rolling her eyes all the time, and the rest of the red and yellow tribe are just revealing information that they're not supposed to know and not playing it cool. They're like, I'm working with this person behind your back. I'm trying to get, like, I know what you said about me. This person told me. Great to watch. It kind of works out again because of the numbers of like the red tribe is pretty safe, the old red tribe. But like Nate, I felt like really needed to stop talking
Yeah.
for his game. I liked listening to it, and he was right. Like he wasn't gonna let Matt slide. Matt was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "No, you said it. I know what you said."
Yeah.
Um, if that were post merge and everyone was there, that would have lit up a target on his back for sure. As like not trustworthy, he's gonna spill the beans. He's lucky, I think, that the people he's working with were there and no one else.
Yeah, he's lucky they like him because
Yeah.
I also can't believe that Jeff did not address that Sophie was the only one who didn't have to go get a um torch. Like it was just very uncomfortable for a solid 45 seconds of everyone grabbing their torch and lighting it up and Sophie's just sitting down and like watching. That should have been Jeff's first question. Like, Sophie, how's it feel to be like sitting back and
Hmm.
watching your entire tribe grab a torch?
I didn't think about that at all. That's
Oh, that
interesting.
was my first thought.
No, yeah, I think you're right. I was so focused on the Jawan thing that I missed that.
Yeah.
All right, so we get through tribal and it's not a split vote, but they do that thing where um so I don't know if V would know this. I mean, you probably figured it out. You just binged four in a row. But when they read the votes, so when Jeff goes to get the votes, he obviously knows like he that's when he looks, and then they choose to read them out to everyone in the most dramatic way. So we get that thing for a while where it looks like it's gonna be a three-way like battle, um,
Hmm.
but it's not. Nate gets one vote. He gets a vote from Matt, who spent the whole tribal saying he wasn't going to vote for Nate, and then still votes for Nate. Jason gets two votes, um, which I'll get to in a second, and then Matt goes home with four votes. Matt is the next person voted out. Which and Christina almost did this too. We almost had our biannual situation that happens to Smith in our league, where last season Smith missed the first four episodes, but someone, or maybe the first three, and someone on his tribe had gotten voted out. And he was like, "Oh, I don't know who I should pick." And so he spent his workday, the day of the next episode, binging all of them. And he was like, it was great for me because he was just sending me his reactions all day. I had something to do that day. And it gets down to like, so he finishes at like Wednesday at like 6 p.m. The episode's on at 8. And he's like going back and forth with me over like, who do I pick? And 15 minutes before the episode airs, he picks, who do he pick? I think he picked Thomas. And then the episode airs and Thomas gets voted out immediately. Um, and that almost happened again because he was two episodes behind, and so he was watching them the other day and texting me about it. And he was going back and forth between Sage, which I could not believe, Matt, and Nate. And he was this close to picking Matt, but he ended up going with Nate. And thank God he did because this would have been the second time in a row where he binges like a whole season and then gets screwed 10 minutes after he makes his pick.
Thank God he didn't pick Sage.
Yeah. I that was not I was like sometimes when you guys lose people, obviously, I'm doing the calculations in my head to make sure that there's enough like people left to pick. Because I know there's like X amount of people, but if you have some of them on your tribe already, like I'm trying to make sure that there's not sort of we have like an emergency plan in case someone can't make a pick. Um, which I hope we don't have to use. But so I'm running through and I'm thinking like, who is this person gonna pick? And at no point ever did it cross my mind that he was going to be considering Sage. And I was like, well, I did not prepare for that. Um, Blue's going to have to sit next time because now it's uneven again. Do you think they sit Alex? Well, I'm moving on from tribal. I'm just asking questions now. Alex has never been able to sit.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm trying to look at who's on that tribe. I don't think Sophie S has sat, and I don't think Sage has sat.
So the tribe, they decide who of their team.
Yeah, so if you're up one player or two players, you have to sit X amount to make the teams even.
And
but they can't sit multiple challenges in a row. I don't know how that applies here because they just switched up the teams.
yeah.
But I think they just switched up the teams, and I think they all did the challenge this week. So to me, I feel like it's blank slate. Go ahead.
They don't know what the challenge is before they choose.
No, they'll get there, and he'll be like, "All right, decide who are you going to sit out," and then like they do it at the challenge. But they might strategize ahead of time, like, "Hey, this is like if it's a water challenge, maybe you're going to sit out. If it's a this challenge, like who's good at this kind of a thing." I'm just thinking because Alex has never had to sit out, and he's been on losing tribes. Like, I just wonder if they sit him.
Yeah. I wonder if because they also have to think about who they sit for the immunity. So I feel like they have to be strategic about that part first. Because if it's a reward challenge first that they have to sit for, and then there's an immunity challenge.
Yeah, V won't have seen that. Sometimes they just do reward challenges. They don't generally do it until there's way fewer people. Certainly in the individual part of the game, they might do two challenges, one's for reward and one's for immunity. They don't do that.
They might do that only because Blue has nothing.
Yes. Well, they've been baking the rewards into the immunity challenges as the same challenge. Right. So this week they won the fruit as well. I'm talking about separate challenges.
Right.
So we'll see. Anyway, it is time. Oh, I didn't tell you about this. We have a breaking news alert. This might not be interesting to anyone, but Bree and I thought this was wild. So Matt's out, which means that I believe Sharon is the only person that had Matt on our team. So Sharon owes me a new name. That's on her. But we said we have the new rule this year to avoid people having the same team, that people can only be chosen a certain number of times and all of that stuff. And we did the random selection differently just to make sure that the tribes were as even and different as possible. Because last season we had maybe 4 tribes that ended up with Joe and Kyle on them. And then they were kind of locked in. Not me, so it didn't affect me, but like when one of them would do good, they'd all do good or bad at the same amount. So those people could like never beat the person in front of them, right? So that's their problem for picking. They should have looked and not picked the same people. But regardless, we did the math to figure out what was the probability of that happening. And I will say at this point, with Matt out, 13 people left, there is a 0.35% chance of 2 people having the same tribe.
Wow.
You would think it'd be more likely, but no, 0.35. We made all these rules to make that the case, but fucking life finds a way.
It's not possible. Listen, if there's one thing the history of evolution has taught us, it's that life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and it crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is. There it is.
You're implying that a group composed entirely of female animals will breed?
No, I'm simply saying that life, finds a way.
Emily and Vic have the same tribe. They found a way against all odds to make that happen, but
Like
that's
me?
not enough. Christina and Anne also have the same tribe.
Whoa.
It's happened twice. There's a 0.35% chance of that happening once, and it's happened twice.
Emily E?
No. Emily W.
Oh.
I would have said you. No,
Okay.
Vic and Emily W, who are married, so in the same house. So I guess maybe there was like maybe they
Weird.
talked about it and didn't realize when they made their picks. But Christina and Anne also have the same tribes. So I guess for their sake, they better hope that like one of their shared players drops and then they get the chance to pick up a new person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you and Bree need to do an episode on the math behind this 0.35%.
I don't really want to. It's very boring. It involves combinations. It's a whole thing. So you have to factor in that the order of the players is not like it doesn't matter. Like Steven, Shannon, Sage is the same tribe as Sage, Steven, Shannon, you know. So you have a lot of different combinations. It's not that interesting. But yeah, it is extremely unlikely that I think the number of unique teams you could have at this point is like 286 or something like that.
Whoa.
And that's before, like, that's not at the start. That's with only 13 people. It was even higher before. Anyway, that's your breaking news alert. Let's talk about the scoring plays. All right, scoring plays this week. No one played an idol, so there's nothing for that. But Rizzo finally gets points for finishing his Beware advantage, which was basically just take a walk into the pond. But it still counts. So he gets it. Everyone on the new blue tribe gets both immunity points and reward points. So they got the fruit, even though Sophie S. apparently didn't want it. The majority voting points. The only other points actually given this week. Juwan, Nate, Rizzo, and Jason. Which is interesting. I looked at the voting records. Sophie B and Savannah voted for Jason. I imagine they split the vote in case someone played a shot in the dark and was safe. It's just to keep it from blowing back on them. But they got Jason to go along. That means Jason voted for Matt.
Wow.
So Jason playing, I don't want to get involved, decided to get involved.
You got involved for sure.
And I feel like someone like Savannah is going to use that to her advantage later and be like, you think you trust each other? Well, Jason flipped on Matt, and then she's going to keep the heat off of her if she's smart, and she is. And that's the scoring plays this week. Let's go through the season standings, so we may have to do one more reset of the Zoom. But let's go through the season standings. All right. Season standings. We have a shakeup on the leaderboard. We have a tie for first that Mulcahy is not in. Brad and Faith currently tied at 68. Mulcahy is in third alone, the autoimmunity idols, named after his diabetes. He is 66 points. Scott and Mikey are tied for fourth at 64 points, so not that far behind. Myself, Bree, and Vic are tied for sixth. Kelsey is alone in ninth, 61 points. We have a pretty big tie for 10th. Kyla, Matt, Nora, Heidi. Actually, that's not that many people, but Kyla, Matt, Nora, and Heidi are all in tie for 10th place. Smith is in 14th. Sharon is in 15th. Emily W. and Anne are in 16th. Christina and Emily E. are in 18th. You have 52 points. So you are 16 points outside of first, which is not that many, especially when we get to the individual part of this game. Where was I? V, you have sole control over 20th, 51 points.
Good job, V. Soul control.
Sole control. Greg and Brian are in 21st. Brian's all over the board each week. Megan is in 23rd, looking to defend her last. Well, actually, no, she didn't come in last season. Never mind. I won't be mean to Megan. Brenna and Connor are in 24th, so you have that, V. You can always rub it in Connor's face that he is 4 places behind you. And Eric is in 26th. Now, he is well outside of everyone, but for the past few weeks, he's gotten like 6 points, 4 points. He's up to 28 points now. So he's making progress. He just had a really horrible start.
Mm-hmm.
And that is your season standings. How much time do I have left? Okay, I can cruise through this. So, weekly awards. Before I continue, does anyone have anything on the season standings? Any thoughts?
I resent Mulcahy for being in third. He doesn't deserve it.
No,
Done.
I don't. I resent Mulcahy at all. V, is there any hate that you want to get off your chest?
Not yet. TBD future episodes.
TBD. You're gonna save it for okay. Fair. All right, let's do the weekly awards. So let's do your have the numbers. Have the numbers is the top 3 teams of the episode. And this week, we actually only have 3 teams that have the numbers. It is a 3-way tie for first with 22 points is Matt with MC Energy, Brad of Braddy's Baddies, and Heidi of the Puteki Teki tribe all had 22 points this week. And I think it's because they all had Brizzo.
Mm.
The bottom of the tribe is supposed to be the bottom 3. But this week, there's 6 of them. They all tied for last with 8 points this week. I presume you had people on the new yellow tribe that went to tribal. Sharon, Brenna, Anne, V, Connor, and Christina all at 8 points this week.
It was a rough one.
Not a great week. But only Sharon lost someone. So there you go. All right, most consistent. This is, again, becoming more meaningful each week as we get more data to pull from. This is what we're going to use as a tiebreaker in the future when we need to start divvying up between players that are tied for the number of points in the season. Greg has a coefficient of variance, something I'm not going to explain, of 0.0693, which basically means all of his weeks are pretty close together in terms of scoring. Greg is the most consistent. The least consistent the person with their week-to-week score spread out the most is Eric at 0.4286. All right, your Taking Your Flint award. Your award winners for the Taking Your Flint award. There's 2 this week. This award is given, or I guess punishment is given to the people that dropped the most spots on the leaderboard from last week to this week. And this week we're taking 2 people's flint. Anne and Sharon, a 2-time winner of this award now, we're taking your flint. You both dropped 8 spots on the leaderboard. That's tough. Things could swing around dramatically, but this week they did not go in your favor. So Anne and Sharon, taking your flints. Conversely, we also have a huge tie for the That's How You Do It on Survivor award. This award goes to the people that climbed the most spots, and it goes out to Matt, Heidi, and Emily W., who all climbed 9 spots on the leaderboard this week. And those are your weekly awards. It's time for the end. So it's time for confessionals. So I've been giving everyone a chance to get any last thoughts they have on the league, on the episodes, your predictions. This time I'm going to add an actual prompt. So I'm going to ask each of you, and I can give you time. I'll cut it out of the episode if it's blank time. But I'm going to give you time to think about who, maybe 2 people you think are going to be at the end, and 2 people you think are at risk to be voted out next time. You don't have to order them if you don't want to. I was going to ask who you think is going to win, but that's a tough question this early on. So I'm giving you 2 names.
I need a minute to think.
I feel like I can think medium term.
That's fine.
But thinking about like next week, I'm like, I have no idea. Like Savannah, I feel like she's on the top right now, but I don't think she's going to make it to the end. I think she's going to have enemies that she creates along the way.
Sure.
But
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do this then? Who do you think is going to make it far? Maybe not necessarily to the end.
I think MC and Steven, because they're both solid and they're both not like front runners right now. Like we don't see them a lot. So I think that is making them safe politically.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. I think MC, obvious choice, is going to go pretty far. Just she's not really ruffling too many feathers, but she strategically knows what she's doing and obviously physically is very capable. And then I think I agree with Steven too, because he's not ruffling feathers, but he stays pretty like neutral in the of things.
People you think are at risk?
Jason. If Yellow loses again, I think he's unfortunately out. I can't see him convincing anyone to go against each other. I can see Savannah maybe trying to jazz it up because I think she's kind of feeling like it's time to start doing that, but I don't know who that would be other than Jason.
What about the other tribe?
Is she the other tribe?
Yeah, so the other tribe is Savannah. Nope, that's what we just talked about. Christina, MC, Steven, Sophie S, Alex, Shannon, and Sage.
Oh.
I mean, I think Shannon's not super strategic, which is surprising to me. So I think she'd be an easy vote out, unfortunately. And I feel like Alex would be swayed to do that.
Yeah. I could also see Sage being in trouble just because I don't think she has the skills to muster anyone around her to save herself if she gets targeted.
Yeah.
Like, they're either going to not think about her at all, or they're going to be like, we should get Sage, and she'll be like, everyone leaves me, so this is just happening again.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, with that, any other last minute thoughts on the league or otherwise?
My last minute thought is that I will be watching episode 5. I'm
all right
now, I think.
We've created a couple, I wouldn't say you're a psycho, but it'll change. We've created a couple addicts. Smith, we got back into the show. Nora last year went from I'll watch some to like texting me like hate mail about other people in the league. Megan watches it now religiously. I think we've created a couple freaks. Kyla watched it at 1 a.m. the other day.
Amazing.
Yeah. E, any last minute thoughts before we say goodbye?
I really don't like Sophie B.
All right.
That's where I'm at.
Emily hates Sophie B. All right. Well, this has been The League Has Spoken. Until next time.